Hello, everyone. This is Thomas Pepin NHL Talk. I'm Thomas Pepin, and I'm gonna go crazy. Let's talk about the NHL. The reason I say I'm gonna go crazy is, well, if you've ever listened, well, I guess not listened, seen my franchise mode streams, you would know that. Well, because I'm in an apartment building, I don't know how they get in, but flies get in. Probably from other people's apartments and leaving windows open and stuff. Anyways, so there's a fly in. I thought I trapped it in the bathroom, and then now it's flying around here, and oh god, I'm gonna go crazy. Anyways, I'll try not to get distracted. As normal, recapping, well, a time frame of NHL news. In this offseason, we are on July 12th to August 8th. Not really, well, I mean, actually, I don't think any of the news that I'm going to be covering came from today. So, anyway, so I guess technically it's to the 7th, but whatever. So, anyways, we will recap all the news from that time frame. Just give me a second here to switch screens. Is that not working? There we go. Okay, so I guess so. I tend to just mention the major signings in the news portion, and then there's also a portion where I go over the signings in more depth. So I won't speak more to some of the signings here. I'll speak about them later once we get to that portion. So. Anyway, signing by the Kings, Byfield for 5 years, 6.25 per year. So again, we'll talk more about that later. Pavelski retired. I guess he's 40. He was a heck of a player, very well-rounded, and I don't know, it's just unfortunate to see some high-quality players stop playing, and I don't think he ever got the chance to win a cup, or sorry, never won a cup. I think had the chance to win a cup, but anyways, so he got to the final in 16 and 20. But yeah, he was a good player, so too bad that he's retiring, but at 40, it's not surprising. Next up, so I don't really, at this point, I'm not going to speak about injuries because the season's so far away, but when it's something major like this, I'll speak about it. So Krug could miss the entire season with he had surgery for his ankle. Oh, I thought he had surgery at least. Okay, so it says that if he'll need surgery, he'll miss the entire season. So anyways, God, this flies. Oh, man. And I can't really, because of everything that I've got going on here for the stream, I can't move stuff, step away, and kill it. And this one's been hard to catch so far. Hate flies so much. Okay, this one, it's there's a number of steps in the news. Everything I'm covering is in chronological order, so not necessarily continuing one particular news story from start to finish. So anyways, so at this point, which would have been, what was the date? The 17th, Kuznetsov, had cleared waivers and his contract was terminated. I don't know how much he had left. Final year of his contract. So more is to come after that. So that was the first step. So he cleared waivers, had his contract terminated. There's a bunch of signings that took place in the KHL. Oh, there's another fly. My God. Anyways, yeah, a bunch of people signed in the KHL. Because it's not the NHL, I won't really speak more of things than just to let you know who. But there's a number of actually like serviceable NHLers that all moved over to the KHL. So Comtois is one of them. So the KHL, again, this is not NHL news, but it could be relevant. The KHL is going to test out an overtime rule change in its junior league. So during overtime, players are not allowed to skate with the puck back to their half of the ice in overtime. Face-off will occur in the offending team's end, and then a minor penalty each time after the first time. Which I actually like that idea, because if you're playing 3-on-3, which I'm assuming they do, yeah. So it's basically like NBA kind of thing where you can't go back, past half. So anyways. So interesting. I like the idea. Because the whole point of 3-on-3 was to try to have a result in the game. By allowing people to go back into their own end and maintain possession, you're actually killing time of that overtime. If you're trying to end the game, then that, gets in the way of that goal. So I like the idea. God, these flies. I hope that the NHL maybe implements that. Another guy that signed in the KHL, Will Butcher. Again, not much more to say than just telling you about it. So, Flames are going to have a new rink, and so it's official that they've begun construction. So, these goddamn flies have to fly close to me too. Anyways, yeah, so, well, that tells you they're not going to be relocated, you would hope and think. And so they're going to have a new rink, which has always been an issue for them for, I don't know how many years, but a number of years recently. So, good news for them. Evason was hired as head coach of the Blue Jackets. I don't think he has a great record, but we'll have a look to see. The Blue Jackets are not going to be a good team in all likelihood, but a lot of teams are competitive, so you never know. They could be a playoff team. So he made the playoffs in 3 seasons. 3 of replacements. Okay, yeah. So in 3 of 4 seasons, he made the playoffs. So actually, that's a pretty decent track record. He previously was a head coach in the AHL. Made the playoffs in 4 of 6 seasons, but never got past the first round again. So I don't know. Maybe he's capable of producing a decent team regular season, but maybe not in the playoffs. So I don't know. So a serviceable coach for a mediocre team kind of matches up. You don't really want to bring in the best coach in the league if your team's not going to be that great. So just kind of works. So I think it's a good hire. Again, this one's not NHL, so it's more just touching on it. So Dubas, BriseBois. Oh, sorry, Dubas and BriseBois. I thought there was more people to it. Will be part of the front office for the Four Nations Cup and Olympics. I was going to say both of which I didn't care about, but Four Nations I don't care at all about. Olympics, that I'm interested in. Goddamn flies. So, yeah, and I really don't think Dubas is any good as a GM, so I don't like that portion. BriseBois, I don't know if he just benefited from Yzerman's work or if he's actually any good. It's hard to say at this point. Because as soon as Yzerman leaves, Tampa's not quite as good. So, anyways. So, don't like the Dubas choice, but BriseBois, I guess that's fine. This one, I guess, is controversial. Won't speak about any of the controversy, but so Stan Bowman was hired as GM of the Oilers, and he has a good track record as GMs in terms of performance. So putting the politics of it aside, he could and maybe is likely to do well as GM in Edmonton, which they kind of need, especially at this point with their stars kind of in their prime. So of course you never know what will happen, but it's probably a good thing for them. And I did cover this in I think the previous news stream that I did, where I went over his track record. I'm pretty certain. So anyways, I won't go back over it again here. Oh yeah, it's because he was reinstated, allowed again to become a GM, and same with, is it Quinville, the coach? But anyways, so I think it's a good hiring, performance-wise, politics-wise. That's not anything I'm going to speak about. So that's that. Konecny signs an 8-year, $70 million extension, so that's $8.75 per year. We'll speak more about that later. Apparently, the owner of the Phoenix Suns wants to have a team back in Arizona. So who knows what's going to happen. The previous guy that was owner, he's kind of fallen out of things. So we'll see if this actually ever materializes. But that would be probably pretty far in the future. So anyways, so there's that. Line A is released from the player assistance program. Good news for him and, well, theoretically for his team. But there's a whole bunch of news about, or, well, rumors about him potentially being traded, so we'll see what happens there. But yeah, so good news that he's back. Well, at this point at least. The season's still a little ways away. Faber signed 8-year, $8.5 million per with the Wild. Speak more about that in a bit. Nietzsche's 2 years, $6.5 per. Stahl signed a one-day contract to retire with the Hurricanes. Another guy that's had a good career. Did he win more than one Stanley Cup? I think it was only one. Yeah, and then he's been to the final a couple other times. Gould, I think is how you Gouli. I don't know how it's pronounced, but signed for 6 years, 5.55 per. Okay, so this continues the Kuznetsov story. So after being having his contract terminated, he signed a 4-year deal with SKA St. Petersburg of the KHL. So another good player going over to the KHL. This I thought was pretty... Well, I should say maybe slightly more about that. So Kuznetsov's definitely a great player, so it's kind of too bad for the league to lose a guy of that caliber. Mind you, there, like I said, there's been a number of decent players that have gone over, so it makes sense because, well, it seems like there was trouble with him in Washington, and then it doesn't look like he's felt like a good fit in Carolina outside of, temporarily playing. So yeah, just too bad to lose a good player, but that's happened in the past, so it's not anything crazy. It's not like boatloads of high-end players are leaving for the KHL. So anyway, so yeah, coming back to this here, Canada is going to be stacked for the Four Nations face-off, I guess they call it. I thought it was Four Nations Cup, but anyways. So Tocchet, DeBoer, and Cassidy, all assistant coaches, which is kind of crazy. Like, those are like the best coaches. And then behind John Cooper as head coach, which is just nuts. That's a stacked coaching staff. So at least coaching is going to be really good. I don't know about management, but anyways. So the Devils, there's not really too much to talk about in this regard, but they added former GM of the Flyers, Chuck Fletcher, to I guess their senior advisor to general manager. So there you go. And then who else did they say? Manny Legacy and Andy Green are also hired for other roles. Green as advisor and Legacy as executive of goaltending. Another guy that's a pretty good player that went over to the KHL, Gurianov. Another guy, Kampfer. Not the highest end of players, but he went over to the KHL. Dubas and McLeod, both, again, I don't talk about stuff outside of hockey. They're supposed to have a trial related to stuff in their past, and anyways, and so they're apparently on KHL teams as well. Next, we have signings. God, these flies, I can hear them. They're so loud. I can't wait for this. Not that I'm trying to rush through this, but I can't wait for this to be done for me to just... I don't like killing things, but man, flies are one of the few that are on my list. Flies and mosquitoes. No sympathy for either. So there's other signings here. Oh, I think this is the first one since Cat Friendly shut down. No. I think... Anyways, so this is the new site that I decided I'm going to use. And so when I post the shorts that tell you guys about signings, unfortunately, it's got in total salary as opposed to annual value, and I'm not going to go and break it down into annual value because it's just way too time consuming to do more when it comes to just putting those shorts up. So, anyways, so that, just so you know, that's the structure of those shorts. If you see signing, it's total value as opposed to annual value. But anyways, so we had a few signings to touch on. There's Goulet, however it's pronounced. Nietzsche's, Faber. Konecny. I wonder if you guys can hear the fly. It's so damn loud. At what point... Here, give me 1 sec here. I want to check from what time frame. I did for last stream, so I know. So it's the 12th. I need to go back to. I don't think there was anybody else other than these guys. Did I already get Byfield? I didn't. Okay, so then he's the last one. Pretty certain. Pavelski. Kuznetsov. So yeah, my criteria is, or criterion is, 5+ million per year are the only contracts I really speak about. Well, I guess there's Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. That's a tongue twister. He signed 5-year, so just under 5 million per. And then the rest is all the other guys. So Gouli, however it's pronounced, 5.55 per. What's his track record? Statistics. So he's only played 2 seasons to already make that much. He was a first round pick. So, I mean, I don't know. I think that's a bit much so early. How many years was he signed for? 3, 4, 5, 6. Too early to sign that long at that cap hit. I mean, I should say, I don't know too much about the guy. So unfortunately, this site doesn't tell us their stats prior to the NHL, it looks like. So, yeah, it's just that early in your career to get 6 years at 5.55. I think it's a bit premature. It's not the worst because it's pretty low in terms of cap hit. It's like a reasonable contract for a defenseman, and it's not 8 years. So it's all, within a reasonable range. I just don't, with those kind of stats, I mean, I would say 4 years at 5, but even that's high. Yeah, 4 years at 5, just under 5, something like that, maybe is probably a better idea, but anyways. Their GMs are signing these kind of contracts all the time, so it's, it's obviously normal. Nietzsche's 6.5 per 2 years. There was rumors about him getting traded. So he ended up signing there. Um, 3/4 of a point per game-ish, it seems like. And what's the cap hit again here? 6.5. I think that's great value. They probably, well, with a player of this kind of age and performance, you'd probably want something like 4 or 5 years. And he's the kind of guy that maybe you do even more. And like maybe you could even pay slightly more. So 7.5. God, these flies. 7.5 for like even 6 years would be quite reasonable. So it's obviously an outstanding contract. It's just it would probably be more wise to get him longer term. But since they had issues signing him to begin with, it seems like he's going to be on his way out. At the end, but maybe even during the contract. So, anyways, so outstanding contract for cap hit for that quality of player, but these are the kind of players that you want to lock up a bit longer term, even if it costs more. So this was one that I didn't like at all. I thought it was horrendous. So great performance in his first year, 47 points in 82 games, fantastic. But that's 1 year. To get 8.5 per for 8 years. Like, that means you're confident this guy is going to be a high-end defenseman in the league. It was a second-round pick, so it's not like certain that he's going to be a high-end player based on that pick, because otherwise you would have seen him go in the first round. So, for track record plus pedigree, I think it's a horrendous contract. Maybe if you wanted, so I could see maybe like if you're going to do an 8-year contract, maybe like 6 million, 6.5, based on that first year. That's a great year. If you really want to go lock him up long term, or if you're going to do 8.5 for like 3 years, I could even potentially make sense of that. But the combination of the two is just brutal in my opinion, because if he doesn't produce at that same rate, then it's a garbage contract. Just like I said with McAvoy, even though McAvoy's a great defenseman, you need to be producing at Makar kind of level performance, or Yossi kind of performance to be able to get these kinds of cap hits. I think it's brutal for those reasons. So anyways, bad idea, and it'll probably come back to haunt them. Of course, you never know, I might be proven wrong, but that's my prediction, at least in my judgment of the contract. Konecny, 8.75 per for 8 years, which is a pretty expensive contract. So let's take a look at his performance. Ballpark as of late, point per game on not that good of a team. But just shy, kind of the same, similar performance, not maybe slightly better. No, I'd say similar performance to Nietzsche's, and he, 6 points something? And then he's getting 8.75. Again, we're not like considering how well-rounded their game is and all that kind of stuff, which can kind of slightly adjust the contract, but that much, that's where it's like I was saying, I think Nietzsche's was like a very good value contract. And then this one is probably like a very league normal kind of contract. 8.75 is, it would be normal for this kind of performance. Maybe a smidge on the high end to lock him up for 8 years when he's 27 is kind of reasonable. I'd maybe want it down a year just because you don't want it at 35, that cap hit, I don't know. So maybe 7 years and preferably high sevens, maybe 8 million. So they overspent by a bit, in my opinion. Both on duration as well as cap hit. So combined, then it's not that great of a contract, but it's a very normal NHL contract. So just not exactly what I would have wanted, but it's not horrible. Byfield, the last one we're going to take a look at, he signed 6.25 per for 5 years. Had a good year last year, 55 points with 20 goals in 80 games. So decent. I know he's got good pedigree. Yeah, he was a second overall pick in 2020. So based on the performance, so if he was able to continue at this rate or improve, then 6.25 for centerman's great, in my opinion. So this is like in contrast to what we just saw with Konecny. No, not Konecny. That defenseman Faber. So this is where you don't get yourself stuck in a super long contract. 5 years is reasonable for a good player that you want to lock up, but that's not 100% proven. 5 years is a good duration. Cap hit is dead on kind of what you would. So it's for his performance, he's getting basically paid maybe slightly high, but you're overpaying for the potential. So, and even you could argue he's at the right cap hit even for his performance. So in my opinion, like, this is a perfect contract. 6.25, you don't know exactly how he's going to end up, but has potential. It'll be easy to get out of, either if you keep it and let it expire or you trade it. And then, but it seems based on the cap hit that he's going to, if he performs at a similar level, it's really going to be fine value anyways. So altogether, I think it's a fantastic contract. This is exactly what I would want to have with this kind of player. It's what they should have done with Faber. Except because he's a defenseman, maybe slightly less. Even at this cap hit, I would have been like, okay, that's fine. Based on his first year, it's not crazy. So anyways, yeah, so I think altogether, great signing there. Otherwise, there were no other trades. So I think that's actually all the news. So that's, I guess, where we'll leave it. One comment, so completely different subject matter and content. On my other YouTube channel, I've been trying to make friends with crows in my area just as a fun hobby. So I'm semi-retired and I work part-time retail, and I walk to and from work. So I try to make friends with crows, interact with crows, in hopes of having maybe some cool stuff happen, like them follow me around or whatever. I don't know what the exact goal is, but anyways, if that could be of interest, have a look at my other channel. You can find a link to it on the channel homepage here. And yeah, so far there's been some decent progress, I guess. Been doing it for like 6 weeks now, something like that. But yeah, anyways, that's it for this one. If you like the stream, hit the like button, share with your friends, subscribe, turn on notifications. The channel homepage has upcoming streams on regular NHL content. So that again is going to be after a chunk of time. I can't remember when exactly it is, but you can have a look at the channel homepage for that. I had to cancel franchise mode for Monday, and it's getting late in the week, so I might not even be able to do the same weekly franchise mode, and on Monday I won't be able to do franchise mode either. So we'll see if I can get some streaming in. If not, it might be 2 weeks straight where I miss a bit of time on franchise mode for NHL 23. And otherwise be a pros whenever I have time or feel like I have time or felt like it all that much. Any comments, leave them in the comments, suggestions likewise, and we'll see you guys